You're listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show, where wealth is empowering, purpose is crucial, and high vibes are non-negotiable. And now, here's your host, certified business coach and practical woo strategist, Sara J Loureiro.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. Today's episode is largely in part inspired by a session that I just did with a client. And in fact, this is something that I talk to a lot of my clients about, and I just felt like it's time to do an episode on this. I know I've talked in the past about how making money is not evil and how our society has really tried to tell us that money is evil and rich people are evil. But yet I feel like this rhetoric just kind of keeps on coming up, and it comes up and it creeps up on us in so many different ways. And so in terms of the client that I was working with, the way that it was coming up for her was that because she does spiritual work, she shouldn't be charging for what it is that she does. And I've been in that boat before. And if you, no matter what industry you're in, you probably feel guilty for charging, or you probably feel guilty for charging more, or else you'd probably already be charging more for what it is that you're doing. And it's really is my mission to make sure that everyone in my community is truly charging the rate that they feel like their work is worth, without feeling guilty about charging that amount, but at the same time, without feeling like they have to charge a specific amount, even though they want to charge less. I really do feel like price is an internal job in your business, and no one else can dictate what you quote unquote should be charging. So when I first started out in online business back in 2015, which was so long ago, I was a yoga teacher, and I kind of felt the same thing. In fact, I remember saying to one of my friends, I want to be the most accessible private yoga teacher there is. And I remember even talking to some of my coworkers from my 9-to-5 about the whole idea of doing private yoga sessions and making yoga more accessible. And I remember even them telling me, like $30 a session, that sounds like too much. Like who's going to pay you $30 for one session of yoga? And it's so funny because by the time I was kind of transitioning in my business, I had clients who were paying me $500 for one session of yoga, and people who just absolutely loved that work. So I want to say here as well that I did not feel any more spiritually worthy or any more ethical when I was charging $30 a session versus when I was charging $500 a session. And mind you, there's so much that went into that $500 versus what that went into that $30, right? And I think that there's a lot that goes into how you dictate your price, like what's included. I also included a membership within the $500 price point. And so there's a lot of different variables there. However, the biggest thing here that I want to talk about today is mainly the internal work and how it feels internally. And this is why I'm going to title this podcast episode, Your Energy Has a Price. Okay, so I'm going to say that again because I think that this is so important. Your energy has a price. There's a price that people pay for your energy. Okay. So the way that I went about this with my client is we first started going off of, okay, well, if you are a spiritual mentor, or insert whatever mentor it is that you are, and you need to literally survive in order to give out your sessions, right? That quote unquote should be free, according to her inner mean girl, they should be free. What we did is we worked out everything that it would cost in order for her to just survive. So just the survival of her paying rent, her having enough money for food, her having enough money to buy new clothes, to sleep in a comfortable bed, all of those things. And so when we came up with that number, I asked her, okay, do you see now how your work actually has a price? Because the thoughts that you're thinking, literally the breath that you are breathing, and the words that you are saying to your clients, even if you quote unquote shouldn't be charging, there's a price for your survival in this world. At a bare minimum, there's a price for your survival in this world. Okay. And so when we start to think of money as energy and not money as something that is evil, not money as something that is the worst thing that could have possibly happened to us, when we start thinking about money, especially as the best thing that possibly could happen to us, although that's an episode for another time. But when we start really understanding that money is energy, then we can start to understand that, okay, well, I am also energy. So what is the exchange of energy here between these two things? Now, we worked out the amount for her in terms of the bare minimum energy for survival that it would take for her to conduct her sessions. And so in that, we discovered that obviously it was not free, right? And she should not be not charging anything for her spiritual mentorship. Then we looked into, okay, well, let's talk about more than that bare minimum. What is more than the bare minimum for you to be able to conduct your sessions and to be able to live your life in a way that feels inspiring and in a way that feels higher level? Because people aren't only going to want to come to you for spiritual mentorship just so that you can give them the bare minimum of your energy. People are going to want to come to you so that you can give them the highest form of energy and the highest form of spiritual healing. So what is the energy and what is the money that it costs for you or for my client to live in your highest level of energy in order to conduct sessions from a place that's truly going to be more healing? And so then from there, we discussed, okay, well, it would actually be an increase in nutrition. So it would be increase of the quality of food. It would be an increase in terms of the amount of travel that she does. It would be an increase in terms of the amount of clothes that she ends up purchasing. It would be an increase in terms of the amount of self-care that she does. Because all of those things are going to relate to the way that she shows up energetically for the people that she provides mentorship to. And so after that, we came up with another number. And after the next number, I asked her, okay, does your energy have a price then? And more specifically, does your higher energy have a price? And if you've never done this before, I really encourage you to do this as well, because what you need to decide is how you want to show up for your ideal clients and what energy do you want to show up for those ideal clients. And if you are planning on signing on higher paying clients yet feel guilty about it, what I'd also encourage you to do is just look at those price points and ask yourself, well, what version of me do these clients ultimately deserve to have? And in terms of their own deserving, what is the price tag of that worthiness? What is the price tag of that energy that I want to give to them? And the interesting thing too is a lot of the times what we don't realize is that our energy and our life sustenance isn't just about what we need for today. It's not just about the rent or the mortgage that you need to pay this month. It's also about making sure that you have accessibility to a retirement, making sure that you have accessibility to pay taxes. We all have to pay taxes somehow. So what is the tax amount that you also need to tack onto that? What investments do you want to make? And how does you putting a price tag on your energy and really explaining this to yourself in thorough thought, how does that help you energetically to show up as the best version of yourself that's then going to transmit into the way that you attract these higher paying clients? We all have a price tag. Our energy has a price tag. And the more that we keep on denying ourselves that and denying ourselves that access to really being able to live out a really full life by doing what we love, the more that we're also teaching the people around us that they also don't deserve it. Meanwhile, when you can show up as your best self and really put a higher price tag on your own energy, you're also inspiring the people around you to put a high price tag on theirs. Because when you benefit, everyone around you benefits too. Now, in this example, we're also only talking about your energy or my client's energy in this example. We're not even talking about the years of experience. We're not talking about the years of knowledge. We're not talking about the energy that it took to acquire all of that knowledge. And this is ultimately also one of the biggest differences between me as a yoga teacher charging $30 for a session and me as a yoga teacher charging $500 for a session. When I was charging $30 for a session, I was just barely coming out of my yoga teacher training. I didn't have any experience. When I was charging $500 for a session, I already had a massive membership site. I already had at least 3 or 4 years of teaching experience, and I already had a huge community. That's not necessarily to say that you need to have all of these things to price yourself higher. That is, once again, totally up to you. However, your energy has a price from your basic survival to what it takes for you to have a really comfortable level of living so you can show up within your highest energy for the services that you provide for your clients. And it also has a price in terms of how many years it took you to sacrifice not working in order to acquire the specific skills that you're now giving other people. We don't pay a doctor the same amount per hour that we pay someone who's bagging groceries at a store. And that's simply because a doctor spends 8 years learning medicine, whereas anyone can bag those groceries. It takes you about an hour to learn how to bag groceries, right? An hour versus 8 years. And I've said this time and time again, and I always come back to this just because I feel like this is something that was so important for me when I learned to start charging more and really start to understand what it meant for me to charge more. And so if you've listened to a previous podcast episode about this, you've probably already heard it before, but you're actually going to be helping more people when you charge more. So when you value your energy at a higher price point, you can actually help those people for free that you would not be able to help for free had you not charged anything in the first place. Why is this the case? Because by you putting a price tag on your energy, you're automatically giving yourself access to a wider range of people, to a bigger community, because you're going to be becoming more visible within the process of trying to get more clients and really trying to reach more people. And by reaching more people within your business, you're automatically going to be touching more people's lives. You're going to be helping more people. There are plenty of people in this world that could do what I did in my 9-to-5, which was mainly in a service-based industry, that could probably do it much better than I can, or that I ever could. I mean, I like to think I was good at my job and I was very compassionate and had a lot of empathy, but I can guarantee you, sometimes I used to look at my coworkers and I used to be like, damn, they're so good at this. However, I don't know too many people who can have the discipline and who can have the drive that I do to get up every single day and get on my Instagram stories and record podcast episodes and ask for the sale the way I do. And the crazy thing about it is that I actually reach more people and touch more people's lives and really help more people with rethinking things and really transforming their thought processes in my business, where I make so much more than I could have ever done in my 9-to-5, because I know that I possess these unique skill sets. And I know that I possess this grit and this wit to actually go out there and do it. And so aside from the money piece, I actually can touch more people doing what I do online. And one of the reasons why I can touch more people is because of the fact that I'm charging more, because people are paying me more. And so therefore, that gives me more of an opportunity to actually have things like a podcast, to have things like free funnels, to have things like free massive live events. And to me, I'm making so much more of an impact on so many more people for free than I would have ever been able to do had I not charged anything for what it is that I do. So that's a really important perspective shift as well. And next time that you have your inner mean voice coming up to you and telling you it is wrong for you to charge for your spiritual work, it is wrong for you to charge for your services, just tell that voice where to go and really work through, if you need to work through the exercises that we did in the podcast today, work through those exercises too, and really attach that price point or that value to what it is that you do, because it is absolutely valuable. And at the end of the day, if you truly view money as energy, then you're going to understand that your energy has a price tag. All right, that is it for this episode. So if you enjoyed this, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. You can find me on Instagram at Sara without an H, J Loureiro. That's Loureiro. I'd love to hear how this episode landed for you. I know it's going to help so many people. If you know of anyone who would love to hear this episode, it would mean the world to me if you shared it with them. Feel free to like, subscribe, and really rate this episode. That would be awesome. So thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. If you enjoy our show and would like the show notes and free goodies about how to grow your online coaching business, head over to sarajloureiro.com for more information. We hope you'll tune in next time.